concluding remarks? Dr. Keadle, you can start us off.
Well, I lost the coin flip twice up here. Richard's going to get the last word, so I'm going to try to respond to some of this. First of all, I don't know what Richard's policy on trade is. Richard doesn't seem to know what Richard's policy on trade is. His boss, who is supporting him and endorsing him and who he models himself after, and it's frankly how he met all these people in the 8th District, is way back when he was working for his boss, traipsing around being a politician and handing out goodies that his boss got. And his boss, took the vote for NAFTA and CAFTA, which were not fair trade, not free trade, but just terrible votes where he didn't stand up for the district and do something to make sure that we did have fair trade and that we did have a good free market trade system that made sure we protected American workers, protected American businesses, protected American consumers, and got free trade like we need. And free trade needs to be, frankly, written on one sheet of paper like this, and all it needs to be is an agreement that we're going to do business with people. We export a lot of things out of North Carolina. Larry Kissel was pointing out in his little thing today that we export a lot of medical products right out of North Carolina. And you can't export medical products if you refuse to do business. And that's protections. Larry speaks out of both sides of his mouth. I don't know what I hear out of Richard, but if the question is Scott Keadle for fair trade? Absolutely I am. If the question is Scott Keadle for some of these policies where we're going to write great big thick documents that are unfair to our local workers and more fair to other workers in other states and other counties, no, I would not put up with that like his boss did. So there's a huge difference. He's right. And this notion that somehow I would buckle to China or something, that's more garbage. And you guys know that. And you should, you ought to be, I know you're smarter than that.
Thank you. Mr. President. Thank you. Well, Scott says it's garbage to say he would buckle to China, but if you look at his plan on his website, his trade policy position says unilaterally eliminate all trade barriers, word for word. And I know it because I saw it before he cut and pasted off the Club for Growth website.
That's not what that means. Yes, sir.
And what that means is unilaterally means we do it without getting reciprocal. And eliminate all trade barriers means we eliminate all trade barriers. And so that's against my position. My position is very clear. We need trade. I want fair trade. I will not unilaterally eliminate all our barriers against China as long as China's cheating. If China will unpeg their currency, if they'll stop illegally shipping their textile goods through other countries, then I'm willing to trade with them. But as long as they cheat, I will not unilaterally eliminate barriers to China. It's a very simple position. I support trade, but not wide open, no barriers against people who cheat. It's very simple. Scott, again, is accusing me of votes that happened. He said Robin Hayes voted for NAFTA. Robin Hayes wasn't in Congress when NAFTA passed. And then he said it's my fault Robin Hayes voted for CAFTA. Well, I was actually working for a different member of Congress who voted against CAFTA at the time, so you ought to actually applaud me for stopping CAFTA based on your analysis. But the truth is I don't have a voting record. I have never voted on any of these policies. But one of us does have a voting record, and Scott voted to spend President Obama's stimulus money in his county. And then he went one step further and came up with this idea of making the whole county a recovery zone, which enabled them to widen Raleigh School Road, which is a road going to their lakefront country club up there. I mean, that's our tax dollars. They're taking money out of the private sector, they're taking it out of our pockets and spending it on these kind of projects that don't make sense. And you can't be a conservative. Pat Toomey said in 2008, you can't call yourself a fiscal conservative if you support the stimulus.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates tonight. We'll take a short, about 10-minute break and prepare for the county